I want to know the lore in-universe reason why Osha could unintentionally bleed Soul's crystal, whereas Anakin could do a whole lot of dark stuff and his did not bleed. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The answer is much simpler than you think, and it has nothing to do with lore. The simple reality is, Luke was given Anakin's lightsaber in A New Hope, and it was blue. So upon filming Revenge of the Sith, they had to maintain that continuity. Beyond that, it's not really a question of ability, but a question of reality. Why Osha could unintentionally bleed Soul's crystal is a question that answers itself, unintentionally. In the process of bathing in her hatred for Soul in that moment, in succumbing to the dark side, and being fully absorbed by her emotions, it came as an outpouring and overflowed. While she handled the lightsaber, that overflow poured into the crystal itself. All of the examples of people bleeding crystals in canon are very intentional, but that's not to say that one can't. She's holding the saber, crystal exposed, and the emotions are still, for all intents and purposes, pouring into it. Now, the lore reason as to why Anakin's crystal did not bleed during his actions was because he was always conflicted. Even when we see him gain Sith eyes in his act of murdering the Separatist leaders, his eyes return to him, and he's crying. When he betrays Mace Windu, he asks, "What have I done?" When he's with Padme, he is filled with love for her, but his act of choking her is stopped by Obi-Wan. While practically, they had to maintain his blue lightsaber for continuity's sake, we can see all throughout these acts that Anakin is conflicted. He's aware that what he's doing is wrong, and the tragedy is that he's succumbing to it anyway. With Ben Solo, his bleeding of the crystal was also conflicted, but his emotions so unstable that it resulted in the crystal cracking. You see, the bleed is always representative of the person's mind and emotions during the process. When Vader finally bleeds a crystal, he is still shown to be conflicted. Images of him choosing the light again confound and confuse him. Dagan Gera bleeds his crystal with the greatest of ease, representing his embrace of the darkness and his resolve. Osha's bleed represents an initial apprehension for the darkness, but a willingness to embrace it after the truth came out. That is why the saber went from blue to red in real time, representing Osha's service to the light as a Jedi and initial hesitance in believing Soul's crime. And once he had confessed, that light was snuffed out and overflowed with darkness, the visual indicator that she had made a full transition from Jedi to dark. Seeing the saber go from blue to red in real time allowed us to see the shift in her emotions in real time, holding on to that love for Soul and refusing to believe the truth until the very last moment. When Soul confessed, all of the darkness poured in.
What happened that night wasn't your fault, Soul. I've told you that.
Stop talking.
As with all things Star Wars, the Force, whether it be in harmony or tumult, represents who we are, and that has never changed, even with the Acolyte.